welcome to Common Talk about the Commonwealth. I'm State Senator Jim Welch, and thanks for tuning in today. Today we are very fortunate to have Judy Matt, who is the president of the Spirit of Springfield, an organization that does such great work in Springfield and throughout Western Massachusetts. And Judy, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Usually in the beginning of the show, I like to give the person that joins us a little bit of time to talk a little bit about their background, how they got to where they are, and just basically a brief history and time of Judy Matt and your experiences.
Well, I'll only go back as far as the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs. Actually, I had been working at the Chamber of Commerce as the head of the Convention Visitors Bureau. Most people don't remember that. And then the then Mayor, Richie Neal, invited me to come and join his administration and head up the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs, which I did, actually reluctantly because I loved what I was doing. And then that closed in 1989, and I started the Spirit of Springfield. And we've had a pretty good run. This is actually our 25th anniversary year. And we're proud to say that we've probably entertained nearly 12 million people. And the activities we do, I'd like to think most of your audience knows them, as the pancake breakfast, the fireworks, the balloon parade, and the jewel in our crown is Bright Nights at Forest Park. And what they don't know is some of the other things we do, like inaugurals, and if there's a tragedy in the community, sometimes we're asked to help to do with activities, because we are organizers, we are event people. And I have a total of 3 employees, including myself, and we're a small organization, but we get a lot done, and we're very happy to create memories for those people that come to our events. And really, that's what we say we're all about: creating memories and giving people a chance to celebrate.
Well, absolutely. Anybody who's experienced or worked with your organization or you knows how much effort gets put into a lot of these events, and sometimes they go off without a hitch. So you don't get the notoriety, I would say, of because they're pulled off so seamlessly. But the great work that's done, and the larger events that most people know about, like you said, the pancake breakfast, Bright Nights, of course, but the events that maybe people don't realize that you had mentioned that you work so hard and your organization works so hard on to get organized and to pull off. So, but the Spirit of Springfield, people have heard the name, they know that there's an organization called Spirit of Springfield. Where did the idea come from?
Well, when the Mayor's Office of Community Affairs closed in 1989, the people that were on the board at that time said these kind of activities are probably as important now as ever. And so Spirit of Springfield was born, and I worked in Mike Wallace's law office for 6 months. He gave us a place to be. I brought a woman by the name of Amy Barron Burke on board, and she has now been with me for 25 years. And she's like the back of the house, and I'm the person out in front and raising money and doing things like this, because she would never want to do these things, and she does a seamless job at what she does. And then we have a third person, Nicole, and Nicole is like an event coordinator. So we started those activities, and the first thing we did was the Taste of Springfield, if you recall. And it was a Coors Taste of Springfield, because Tommy Burke, who owned the company, came into my office and he said, "I'll give you some money if you want to do the Taste of Springfield." And so then the next event the following year, we did the pancake breakfast, and we did the taste again. We brought the 4th of July back, and then 5 years after we started the Bright Nights. And that's what most people know us for. We are not the city. People think we are because we've got that in our name, and because the events are all geared to the region. Actually, I like to say they happen here, but they're for the region, and that's how we've always looked at everything. And Pat Sullivan from the Park Department called me one day. He got a flyer about these lighting shows in the South, and he said, "Judy, we should do this." And I said, "Sure, let's do it," not realizing what it was. And it was a tremendous amount of work, and it continues to be a lot of work. And but it's that particular event funds everything else that we do.
And we're coming up to Bright Nights time, right? So,
yes, we are. Yes, we are.
What's the opening night is?
The opening night is the 23rd. It's the day before Thanksgiving, and I must say that we're already setting up. And you know, people don't realize what it takes to set that up. And there are 4 men who do all that work. Just think of what it's like to put your holiday tree up with the lights. And these men do 3 miles of lights. And they are just magicians. And a couple of them are the same people that have been doing it all the time since we started Bright Nights, Dave Cuco and his team. And I tell you, they are like the best lighting display setup people in the country, without question, you know, and I'm just not saying that. The people, the manufacturers will all tell you that.
And if anybody from Western Massachusetts hasn't been through Bright Nights over the past, you know, how many years now?
This will be the 21st year.
21st,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Hasn't been through Bright Nights, and it changes a little bit every year.
Yep. Yep.
Please take the opportunity to go through. It's so worth it. Any child and really any adult that goes through has a tremendous experience. And you know, it's coming up this November 23rd, the opening, and it runs usually through.
It runs to the Sunday after New Year's. That's how it always is, because the kids are off school. So we close the Sunday after New Year's, and I think New Year's on a Friday this year. So we close that. Sunday's the last day.
And did I hear you have a new special theme coming in this year? Is there Frozen?
Frozen. Well, you know, we're always looking for fun things to do with the kids, and between Christmas and New Year's, we always try to program something, because Santa's already back at the North Pole. So we're going to do Frozen on 2 different days, and they're going to, the boys and the girls are going to have classes, and for the girls, how to wear tiaras, and the characters are going to come in, they're going to sing, and so forth, and that's going to be at the Carriage House, and then they're going to also be there New Year's Eve, and we're going to have a meet and greet with all of the cast, and so it's going to be fun. You know, every year you try to do something to freshen it up, because Bright Nights itself, you know, someone said, are you going to change all the displays? Well, each display costs us about $150,000, and there's no way we could afford to do that. So we do different events, different activities. And in the gift shop area this year, which does very well because the children come to see Santa, we have a carousel. We're having a Santa train that goes around a 40-foot track. We have a shed, a 30-foot long shed with a reindeer in it, and animated reindeer. And we're going to be doing s'mores and little fire pits this year, just to give people another thing to do while they're at the park.
And I know the numbers it's always surprising to hear the amount of cars and the amount of people that go through Bright Nights every year, but what are the estimates?
Well, it's generally 35 to 37,000 cars, and generally in the range of 200,000 people every year. And you know, I like to say that we've paid the city more than $4 million since we've been doing Bright Nights, because we rent the park. That most people don't know. We pay for the staff of the park to set it up and take it down, and they're the best, as I said. And we're grateful and happy that we can do this. But we just have to have a good year, and so we can make the revenue so that we can pay all of this. But we generally, the return on the investment is generally the economic impact, $11.7 million a year just for Bright Nights.
And I know you brought some original artwork, and I'm not sure if we've put it up already, but I'm sure we can. It was amazing to see the original artwork of the idea, and then to see how close to reality it you know, as soon as I saw the pictures, I said, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Well, there's a man by the name of John Catanacci, who is the graphic designer that creates the displays, and he was in North Carolina at the time. He's down in Florida, and he, you know, the first people that came to us, they wanted to do the lighting display, and they wanted it to be just in the upper part of the park. And I said, the first time we're going to do it, it's going to be the best time. We've got to do the park. And so because we had Theodore Geisel from Springfield, Dr. Seuss, I wrote his widow and asked her if we could do a display with Seuss characters. And so I would send everything to her for her approval. And then, of course, don't forget Milton Bradley, now Hasbro. They have all these games, so we put Toyland. So there was a lot of firsts in Springfield, so we try to take advantage of those. And little by little, we've been able to add to it. And now what we're doing primarily is LEDing all of the lights. And because we have over 600,000, you can't do it all every year. So we did approximately 35,000 from this year, which is $35,000 just changing those light bulbs out.
Now, if one light goes out, do they all go out?
They all go out.
No. That's probably the best thing about it, is that you don't have to worry about that. But now, you talked a little bit about it. How long, and we'll talk a little bit more about other events, but Bright Nights, how long does it take to set up the entire display?
Well, they actually started 2 weeks ago to set it up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of overhead work, so we've had the lift there for 2 weeks. And I kept saying we could have paid for that lift several times over because we rent it, because we certainly can't own these things. We have no place to store things. As it is, the storage for the displays is in the park, and in a couple of weeks we're going to have a groundbreaking because we got a federal grant to build that building, a new building. So
for the storage for the
for the
display
storage
pieces.
for the displays.
Okay.
We've got about $2 million in display pieces, but you've got to maintain them because you're out in that weather all the time, and our men do that beautifully. But no, we would like to change some of these things, and eventually we will. But like I said, each one is very, very expensive. And to my way of thinking, I go to Radio City to see the Christmas story every year, and let me tell you, I don't like it when they change it. I like to remember these certain things the way they were, you know.
Sure. And we have a few minutes left of this segment, and I know the Bright Nights Ball is coming up as well, and that's an important event in terms of funding for Bright Nights.
The only two places we make any funds really is the Bright Nights Ball and Bright Nights. And Bright Nights pays for all the operations for everything else we do. So if we have a bad Bright Nights like we did a couple of years ago, we closed 5 nights. And 2 of them were Saturday nights, the whole night. You don't recover from that. So here it is 2 years later, and we're still feeling the repercussions. So it's up to us to continue to go out and fundraise, and we're very fortunate that we have an extremely generous community.
Now, is the ball all sold out, or if people wanted to go?
No, the ball is not sold out. We've sold about 280 tickets, and we'll probably tip off at about 350, and those invitations are out there now, so we'll know in the next few weeks. We'll make those numbers.
And if someone's interested in going,
they can call our office, and which will be on the screen. My office is 733-3800, or you can go to either of our websites, spiritofspringfield.org or brightnights.org, and you can always get us.
It's a great event. Been to it a few years running now, and always a good time.
Yeah.
And great entertainment, and the display inside the ballroom is absolutely beautiful, and really makes for a wonderful night. So. We're going to stop for some public service announcements, and actually today's public service announcement is going to be about Bright Nights, and it's going to be a little video and some information about the Spirit of Springfield. So thank you, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, go get your coat on. It's time to go.
There you go. Okay, go outside. I'll meet you out there.
Hello and welcome back to Common Talk about the Commonwealth. I'm State Senator Jim Welch, and today in the first segment, and we're very lucky to have Judy Matt from the Spirit of Springfield, the president of the Spirit of Springfield, joining us today. And we talked quite a bit on the first segment, Judy, about Bright Nights. We talked a little bit about all the events that Spirit of Springfield does, but it is coming up to Bright Nights time. But I wanted to give you a little opportunity to talk about really the mission, I would say, of Spirit of Springfield. We talked a little bit about it off camera, but why why these events happen.
Well, our mission is to promote community events and encourage civic pride. We like to say that we do these large-scale events to bring pride to not just Springfield, and I have to reiterate that. It's just because the Pancake Breakfast happens in Springfield. We deliver 60,000 tickets to all the schools in Hampden County because we want everyone to come if they want to, and it's not a gimmick, and it's free because we want to help people celebrate. You know, we don't live in a real affluent area, and sometimes, you know, some families can take their kids away on the 4th of July. A lot of our families can't. The 4th of July is their 4th of July celebration. The Pancake Breakfast, to see these thousands of people come down, no incidents ever, and they're just renewing acquaintances, and the children with that free ticket, or the parent that has to pay maybe $2 for it. It's just a way to bring people together. The more you bring people together, the less division we have, I think, in our community. So we try to do these things to make a better quality of life for the people in our region. And I get the greatest pleasure, especially my favorite is the 4th of July. Amy that works for me, her favorite is the Pancake Breakfast. But I love the 4th of July because people are so excited and they get so proud when they see a nice job done and they feel very good about their city, you know?
Well, the fireworks display, and maybe you can talk a little bit about what goes into that planning, but anybody from Western Massachusetts, certainly we cannot complain about the fireworks display that the Spirit of Springfield puts on year after year. And you want to talk a little bit about how that planning works? And I know you've been working with Grucci Brothers for a long time.
26 years this year we've worked with the Grucci family. And you know, people, sometimes a different administration will come along and they'll say, gee, why don't you use X, Y, and Z? I said, as long as those fireworks are going off on the Memorial Bridge, I'm going to use Grucci because it's seamless what they do, and they work with the DPW, and we also work with the town of West Springfield for what they do, and closing their area. And there's a lot that goes into it that people don't see, and we have people like Charlie, our Met Trucking, who give us flatbed trucks, and we do all the charges on the trucks, and then we drive them up on the bridge, and it's nothing is hard because we do it so often. We know what to do. It's just it's very expensive. It's each time we do it for that 20 minutes of fireworks runs about $60,000 because you've got a lot of moving parts here and all the security and the DPW costs and everything that goes along with it. And but the end result is just you're entertaining thousands and thousands of people. So the money is well spent. It's not like we're spending $50,000 and entertaining 100 people.
Right.
You're doing $60,000. You're entertaining probably 100,000 people. So you know that's how I have to look at things. What the value is.
Right. I was going to ask, how many people do you estimate watch the fireworks year after year?
Well, it's the police say that both sides of the river, and not just downtown, from all over the place watching it, and they estimate over 100,000. And the Pancake Breakfast does no fewer than 12,000. And in the case of the Mass Mutual does the fireworks, they're the largest donor. But in the case of the Pancake Breakfast, we've got everyone from Hood that gives us all the milk and the juice and the cream. We've got Performance Food Groups that gives us all the pancake batter. We've got people that make all these donations, and we put together a sheet letting us know what the costs are. So in the event that someday someone wasn't able to give us this, what the actual cost of this. So we do in kind for every event we do. Hood tells us how much the value of it is. Everybody tells us what the value. So someday, if someone has to go out and buy it, this is what they're looking at. And fortunately, the generosity of our region is second to none. We have so many good people that want to help and do their part, whether it be whatever it is, you know?
Well, you talk about volunteers and donors. Now, are there opportunities for people, say, if they're watching at home, if they want to volunteer?
Yes. You know, I've got to tell you, I was speaking at Kiwanis this week, and I was telling them a little bit about what we do, and this one younger fellow in the group said, you know, one of my fondest memories is when I was at the Key Club in Long Meadow, and I got to handle a balloon. And then another man was there, and he said, my son got engaged on a carriage in Bright Nights. And see, those are memories, and that's what we create, and that's what makes me feel good. And your children, they're not going to know anything else. They're going to think that it was always there. But getting back to volunteers, we need balloon handlers. Every year we need balloon handlers. I need well over 200 this year. So if there's one person or two or three, and you want to handle a balloon, bring your families. They have to be a certain age and certain height requirements, so that you're not holding the child's hand and he runs and the balloon goes this way and you run after your child.
I did it one year. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
It's cold.
But a big responsibility, of course. But you're right. If you get a group of people, or even if you're an individual, you
Yeah.
want to just experience it.
Yeah.
And they just contact your office
Yeah, they
ahead of
contact
time?
us. Yeah, yes, ahead of time. And then we always put someone with us. And one thing I'd like to give a great plug to is all our services, because we work very, very closely with the Army and Air National Guard. And we're doing a concert in a couple of weeks, October 20th, a free concert at Symphony Hall, where the United States Air Force Band from Washington, D.C. is coming in. They're a great group. And they're going to do a concert in honor of Gunnery Sergeant Sullivan, who died a few months ago. And those are free, but the military is always there with us. They help us organize the pancake breakfast, the balloon parade. They're some of our closest allies.
Now, is there anything, and that's a great point, obviously we're very lucky here in Western Mass to have Westover and Barnes
Yep.
and such a wonderful military presence, and always willing to volunteer and help out.
Yep.
And you see that when you go to some of these larger scale
Oh, yeah.
events
Yep.
where they're not they're there to help, and they're there to volunteer
Yeah.
and manpower and
Yeah.
to help out with all the work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Now, are there any upcoming events? We talked about Bright Nights. We talked about some of the larger events, Bright Nights Ball, Pancake Breakfast. Are anything new on the horizon, or?
Well, the two other things that are coming up is the concert I'm telling you about in Symphony Hall, free of charge. Come if you can. Bring your children, because not often can you get you don't have to pay to come in. You bring your kids, give them a great experience. And then we do a concert in December, which is a holiday pops concert. And Santa's there, and it's another free concert. And we love it when people attend those events, because that's why we do these things, so people come and enjoy them. Then, of course, we have the road race, which is already sold out. We have Military Night, which is the first Wednesday in December, where all the military gets in for free. And I just want to thank you personally and your colleagues for helping us get an amendment to the budget this year, because that money will really help us get through the year, make payroll and all those little things that we have to concern ourselves with. And those, because as I said, we get no funding from the city, we have to raise sponsorship dollars, and we're very good at doing that. But sometimes, because we're so weather dependent on all the things we do, if we have a bad Bright Nights, it hurts us, and you don't get that money back, so.
So, what typically, for Bright Nights, getting back to, if it snows so much, you have to shut it down.
Yeah.
So, you said a couple years ago you lost 6 nights.
We actually lost 5 nights, 2 completely closed down, 2 Saturdays
Yeah, that's
out
a
of
big
5
thing,
Saturdays, and that you just don't get that money back. But then a couple of them we had to shut them down midway through, and then there was one other night that was so bitter cold. You recall that last winter was one of the coldest winters we've ever had, and one of our kids, I hate to say this, but their hands were raw from handling the money, so we just said, this is it. At 9 o'clock, we closed it down. You can't put your people through that. But that was the first time we ever closed for cold.
Oh,
Ever. But it was like a wind chill of 20 below zero. You can't put your people out there in that.
Well, it's Bright Nights is coming up, the Bright Nights Ball, and Spirit of Springfield does a tremendous job.
Thank you.
And I think this time we got a few minutes left in this segment. Just maybe put some things up on the screen. Talk about what the best way to get in touch with Spirit of Springfield, to find out about. Can you reference the website again?
Spiritofspringfield.org. Or brightnights.org.
Okay.
And you can click on one of the buttons to tell you how to volunteer. There's actually a volunteer form so that you can volunteer. We need volunteers for the road race to help out. And as I said, the balloon parade, because it's cold, people don't want to be out there in the cold. And but it's not always cold, and you just have to bundle up. And it's not that long a walk, and it's fun. It's really fun,
It is fun.
Yeah, and then the pancake breakfast, and we need people to do everything from clean the tables. The carpenters local a couple of years ago, Rocky Thompson got all those guys out there, and they were with the buckets washing the tables down. Every we need somebody for every one of those jobs, you know?
Is there any sneak peek or about who or what balloons are going to be in the parade this year, or is that something you hold until?
No. We have Smokey the Bear. We have a new dinosaur that just came out. This is brand new, first time here. A brand new Santa Claus, a beautiful Santa Claus. And those are the three that I can think of at the moment.
That's all right.
But they're going to be great. And you know what? We don't pick what you'd like or what I'd like. We think of what the kids would like, you know.
Well, dinosaurs, every
Dinosaurs
kid loves
do it.
dinosaurs, that's for sure.
Right.
Well, it's been a tremendous time having you on,
Thank you.
Judy, and I just want to give you, if you another minute or 30 seconds to talk about anything that you'd like the people watching to know about the Spirit of Springfield, how they can help, and what would you stress to the people at home about how important the Spirit of Springfield is to our community?
Well, I guess in closing, I like to say that we do these things for the general public. And the thing that gratifies us the most is when people come. I want to see Symphony Hall filled. We've got this incredible orchestra coming. Come, bring your family, friends, your mother, your father, and the Sullivans are going to be there, and they're not going to speak, but we're going to acknowledge them. Come and support him, because we're doing it for him. Come during the holiday season in December to see that incredible holiday concert. The symphony orchestra is wonderful, but there's not everybody that can afford the symphony orchestra. And here you can bring your children who haven't been exposed to Symphony Hall, and we love them to come in. So the greatest joy that we get is to see people truly enjoying the things that we put on. There's nothing better than that. And really, I think that maybe that's what the importance is, that we maybe lift people's spirits up a little bit, the Spirit of Springfield. We lift their spirits and make them feel good about their communities, and maybe lighten their load a little time in some difficult times. So we just hope that they do come and celebrate.
And it's not just for residents of Springfield, it's for everybody.
No, for sure.
Anybody can
That
come.
military night, last year, the first person was in line was from Maine,
Oh, wow.
because they sent it in their intranet.
Okay.
So, we're just thrilled with that. Any military, come on down that first Wednesday. It's free of charge.
Well, Judy, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I know the people that are watching got plenty of information about the Spirit of Springfield Bright Nights and all the great events that you do in our community. And I want to thank you for all the work that you do. And I know so many.
It's truly my pleasure. I enjoyed it more than anybody else that comes.
You enjoy it when it's over too, right?
And
it's a job
sure
well
enjoy
done.
when it's over. Yep.
So, but for those watching at home, I want to thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.